welcome along to what will be part 16 of making this little hit and miss engine. We'll see what we can get done in this episode. I'll try and get as much content as I can in it. I've a funny feeling there's going to be quite a bit of work on the milling machine to do, machining to do, but I always plan to do a lot more than what I end up getting done because of the time of the videos, how long it takes. So I'll, without further ado, bob over and we'll have a look at it and see what we're going to do. Okay. Right, I better bring you up to date with what I was going to do. As you know, we'd made this little roller bearing in a holder and threaded it and got a piece of threaded rod. Somebody had actually made a comment and said that they thought that might bend. Now I didn't think it would, and I was confident it probably wouldn't, because it's only going to be cut very short and it's going to be supported in bushes. But what I didn't realise was this thing here, this roller, this mustn't turn, because if it does, not focusing, are we? This mustn't turn, because if it does, then it's not going to run right on the cam. So the only way of stopping that from turning is to mount it into something that's in a slide, not just a round holder where it can spin. So I got this piece of bronze hex bar out my drawer, and I've machined the flats down on it, so we've got two flat sides and two flat tops. So I'm going to machine a block of metal, which is actually brass, and bronze together is probably not the best materials, but for the speed it'll run at and length of time I won't think it's going to matter. But I'm just setting up in mill now, and I'm going to machine a little block of steel, block of brass, and it's the piece that were left over from the conrod when I did the conrod. And it's 25mm square or thereabouts. I machined it up to square it up. It was just a rough cut. And I'm going to machine it to accept this, and it'll sit on the side of the body of the main unit and be fixed to it. So there's quite a bit of machining to do and drilling. So I'm going to cut a slot in it so it accepts this, and then I'm going to put a lid on it, a plate, a cover, which might be made from aluminium yet, I don't know, we'll see. So that's what I'm up to and how far I've got. Sorry. Right, this is just a bit of an idea really. It's that piece I explained earlier, that it's that piece from end at conrod that I cut off, and I'm just milling a slot in it to accept this, and my idea is it'll go in there, and then I'll make a lid for it or something, so it's contained, so it can't move when the latch comes to it, to latch it, to stop it closing the valve. That's the plan. I've got 2.6mm deep so far, and I need to get to 5 and then stop and start taking measurements. I'm only taking 0.2 per cut, nothing heavy. Ooh. Nerves, try again, and again. Right, one there, and two at the back. And then this thickness here, keep the same here, and then cut that down as a step, and then there'll be two fixings to fix that to the body. So it'll be like an L bracket, if you like. I think so. Unless I left it that thick and counter some. No, I need to make this thickness here the same here. Lock the gib. That's the wire I've locked, so it can't move that way at all. Shall we have a look at it? If I need to take more off, I can always put it back in with one of these little packer strips in that I made. Didn't make them, found them. I suppose it matters which way they're going. Feels better that way, strangely, but okay, two fixings there into the body. Might have to dress this up a little bit, make it look a bit tidier, but you get the idea. The distance between the back face of this and this face, I'm sure it wanted to be something like 6 to 6.5 millimetre, and I'm sure it's more. It's 7.32, but I'm not going to shave anything off it yet. I'm going to trial fit it because I might have made a mistake in my measurement, so I'll trial fit it, and if it proves that I need to take some off, I'll have to clamp that in that way and shave some off the top. filing up. It's got some right burrs on it now. You can see machining lines, if you can see from there, but you've got some running that way and some running that way, which means you've got your tram right, apparently. Okay, I'll come back when I've measured up, make sure it's alright, and we've started the next bit. Right, so I've cleaned it up and deburred it a little bit. It wants clean, it wants polishing obviously, but so that's the slide done. I mean, it's only going to move 3mm. So can you understand it now? I will show it over on machine. Well, I'll actually have it fixed soon with 2 screws, but yeah, and a plate over there. And then somewhere here I've got to create a notch for this latch, so that when the valve is pushed open, it stays open if the governor wants it to, and when the governor lets it go, it'll come back. Now I don't know whether you have that bouncing on cam, so that this thing's loose, so that when the latch comes off, it don't come off nastily, it just springs out. But then again, there isn't much tension on it. Yeah, with that valve held open, it's only that little spring. And rocker, if it's 1-to-1 or thereabouts, I'm going to have to do an offset rocker, a stepped one. And I think with this governor, I'm going to have to do an offset one. So I'll have to work that out, but well, I've done enough for tonight. Now, the next thing I need to do is make a little cover for this. Put one there. The only thing I've really got is some aluminium. I have some round brass bar, but it's huge and it took forever to machine it down. And I think maybe a little aluminium cover would be alright. The only trouble is with aluminium. So soft, I've got to be milling it to get it same size as this. So it might be more than one attempt at this. It'd be, I think the general rule is going to be very slow going. So yeah, that's what I've got to do, is make a little cover. An alternative would have been mild steel, but nah. If you can see this writing, so in from the sides, I'm going to work out in that really well because there's metal to take off. I'll try and mark that up somehow, but from this and this, it's 4.61, which is actually 2.61 in, but then there's the edge finder, which is 4mm diameter, which half of that is 2mm, so I need to add that 2mm to the 2.61, giving me 4.61. X. So I know I need to go in from that 0 to 4.61 from touch off. Right, that's bolted on. All I've got to do now is the top's okay, the bottom's okay, but the ends need milling cutter running over. So I'm going to set it up and just clean them ends up, and that's complete. It might need some. Right, I've just used spotting drill and just spotted these. I've come in 5mm from each end. I've done it with DRO using edge finder, and then I've gone half the distance from the upright part there to there, with the idea, this is to fix the slide unit onto the main body, and I'm going to use M4, so the plan is they'll be there like that. So I'm just about ready to drill through with a M4, with a 4mm drill clear. Lovely. I think this should be long enough. That's got to be tapped into the aluminium. I don't want to go too far because I don't want to hit the water jacket. So really I need to clean this all up now, assemble it, and make sure the slide works alright in it. And basically that's it, finished. And what did I say, 10.5 maximum depth. Quite a bit of dressing up to do on this lot. Okay, so I've assembled that on there, as you've just seen me drill it 10 minutes ago, and I've put the plate back on. I've nipped it loosely. It's not tight, but because everything I suppose eventually will get Loctited, but get an idea now. If I put my finger on there and push down, whether it's going to need a spring on it or whether we just rely on valve closing it each time, I don't know, but you get an idea of the operation here. So that's valve on its maximum lift, which is about 3mm. And as I said, I'm hoping that the piston doesn't go within 3mm of the top. Well, it doesn't, I know it doesn't. so when the valve's been locked open, I'm sure we're going to have no interference fit clearance problems. I'm starting to make the pivot for the rocker arm that's going to fasten to the cylinder head. Basically it's going to be 35mm long, hole there, which will bolt onto the cylinder head with two of the fixings that are already there. 22.69 centres. That's the front view. The side view, so it's going to be 3mm thick, total of 25mm deep. I've got to come out 25mm to get in line with the head of the valve, otherwise the rocker's going to be well back, and I want it to be sort of pretty level. So I'm making a start with it. I wanted to make it out of brass, but unfortunately I haven't got any square stock in brass, and the piece I have got, I'd have been machining it away all night and it'd be wasting brass really. So this is a piece of steel. I've just chopped 35mm, well, a bit longer off. I'm going to clean ends up now. It looks like an old gib strip because there's like screw dimples in it. Something to do with some sort of gib or packing. Don't know how hard it is, we'll find out in a second. But it's mild steel, so it's something I'll have to prime and paint to stop it going rusty when it's finished. Right, I've got that down to 10mm, which actually 10.02 or something. So that's okay. So I'm just going to face that off because there's the markings from a bolt that's been pushing on that when it were a gib or whatever. So I'm just going to take a light skim off that. I'd marked up for this to be 25mm wide, and it's 25.5 or something, so it can afford to have a little bit skimmed off there. And then start chopping it up. I don't know if you can see this little ice cream lid. I've just bolted to end of here because there were bits flicking off and they were burning my arm. So .25. Oh, I can afford to flip that round and clean that other side up, I guess. Right, so we've got the block, so that's 35mm by roughly 25mm. None of these are critical, by 10. So now there's two fixings in there, and then it's got to be machined down, out, and then a piece out the middle for a pin to go through for the rocker to rock on. Right, I've marked that up, I blued it and marked it up, whether you can make it out or not. I've scratched this away and this, so that's to come out, that's to come out, and then the centre's to come out. That'll just leave the backing and the two fingers, which I said would cross drill. I think it's really what to do first. Do you machine the middle out first, because you've got something to hold it with, or do you machine these out first, then only leaving the end bit to grip it? Don't know. Probably the middle bit first, I'm guessing. Right, I've just done a half cut depth there, right through, but only half thickness of the bit. So the slot I want 7.5mm wide. This cutter is the nearest I've got, which is 6. So if I run straight down the centre with the 6, and then I can nibble and clean out both sides to suit. That's one thing I haven't done, and that is to set myself some sort of a stop, so there's no way I can go too far. .97. So yeah, I'm on target. I've got to cut the sides down. How on earth am I going to hold that while I do that? Well, that's cut to my marks. Don't matter about that radius there, because it give it more support when it's bolted down. So how am I going to hold it? Probably like that. Look at it. So that side to do now. We'll do it on that side. So don't rag my hand to death. Well, that's behaved well, hasn't it? Look at that. Hardly a mark on it. Well, that's carbide for you. So that's our rocker arm holder. So it needs rounding off there and there and there and there, and then just dressing up, cleaning up. Yeah. Another part made. Right, so one cylinder head, one little fork done. I've radiused the edges to make it look a bit better and sort of run some emery around it, or some wet and dry. Could do it a bit more on the sides there, but maybe get to see exactly what that is now. So where does that go? That's going to go there. There's two studs there. They'll come out. I'll have to make longer studs, or actually use Allen screws going in, but I just thought the dome heads would look nice all around the head. So probably will do that. And that'll go there, which hopefully it'll be in line with that exhaust valve. And we've got to make some sort of a rocker. I don't know if you can see clear enough, but this is where the rocker's going to be pushed. This got to be cut back here, so the push rod would be there. However, the valve's there, which is higher up. So this is going to have to come across here, pivot, and then come down. So it's going to be pushing at a funny angle. Hence the reason I left that gap in there was so that I can get like a bushing in there and a pin all the way through to try and make it smoother. As I've said, I've shown you before, I've got some brass plate, which probably is what I'm going to use. I'll probably cut profile roughly on the bandsaw. That fits in there okay. So we'll see. We are slowly getting there, and so that's taken me quite a long while to nibble away at. Now, I was thinking while I was doing this about any guys that wanted, you know, if they're going to make something like this, and they think, well, I can't do that because I don't have this and I don't have that. And one of the things I'd probably say is possibly I don't have a milling machine. Now, what I made there were just out of a block of metal, mild steel, and there was nothing to say you couldn't have done that in the vice with a hacksaw and a file and emery cloth, just the same, and probably a lot quicker than it took me. It's just that I'm not very good with hacksaw these days. My shoulder gets tired and my elbows and, you know, all rheumatic sod. So you don't be afraid that you can't do it because you don't have a milling machine. There's an awful lot of work I do on that milling machine that you could equally do with a hacksaw, and you can get milling attachment for your lathe anyway. I had one for that Myford, but I sold it to a friend of mine. I've not regretted it so far because I have got a milling machine, but they say they're very handy. Okay, so I'm gonna probably not wind this video up yet because we've done all this valve gear and stuff and this, and I'll see how I can condense it down. If I think that's enough for this episode, which is 16 I believe, I'll wind it up and publish it over the weekend and then make a start on the next bit, which is the rocker. The other thing was, I had an idea now, and I'm sure it'd work, but I'm going to have a go, sorry. I've got some piano wire and making a spring. Now, I think you can see that's the spring out of a pen. And I've got 3 boxes of different size springs, you know, various ones, Parkside and Rolson and all, cheap boxes of them, which is what these are. But there's none that small diameter, and I wanted it, that's 4.5mm. And I really could do with a spring, to wind a spring on some real thin bar, only short, but at about 3.5mm, maybe even smaller. Why? So that I can drill the end of this rod and push it down it, tap a thread in it, put a grub screw in, and I can wind it down and I can tension that. That won't go in this end, that's going in this end. No, in this end, which we've all seen, but this here is the roller for the cam with a lock nut, and that brass bar I turned down and put an M4 thread on it. Now my thoughts are I could slice that thread off, take it away, throw that piece of thread away, drill this out a size that I can still get an M4 tap in, but small enough to get a spring in, and the spring would go down inside here, and then on the back side of here I'd cut a little slot about 4mm, because we've got 3mm of cam lift, about 4mm, and then make a little slug of brass and drill the side of it and put an M3 thread in it, and that would be a stud that I'd make. So I'd have a slug in here with the thread in the side of it. Imagine it with this side, for argument's sake. This is all just forward thinking. I think I'm zoomed in too far. Imagine slot were on this side, and I'd cut with a little milling cutter, a little slot in there about 4mm long, that way on. And in it, I put this slug inside and a little grub screw into it and nipped it in, so there were a pin sticking out here. But it wouldn't be sticking out here, it'd be sticking out at the back, where I could put a stop on with an adjuster, and I could adjust this little stop. The spring in there would be pressed against the plunger and would push this way against the cam. Why am I thinking all that? Well, only because the ones I've seen have got a spring on here, like a lug and a little spring, which is great. But I just thought if you couldn't see the spring and it was hidden, I thought it'd look quite nice. Well, it wouldn't look nice, you wouldn't see it, would you? But it'd be just a feature that this has got that, you know, no others have. You know, I'm trying to make it a little bit bespoke, if you like. Yeah, a few little ideas I've had coming along. Another one maybe to drill a hole through that bronze block and either put a little oiler in or just leave it so that I can drip a bit of oil in there to give this some lubrication, because if you oil it from this side it's not going to seep in right. I thought if I drilled a hole in the middle, lots of little things. This has then got to be cut down and either a pushrod created with this, and whether we do it with a pushrod and a ball bearing in the end I don't know, to the rocker arm and make it adjustable, I don't know, although I've got my adjustment here, so I don't really need an adjuster on there. If I get it accurate enough I can just play with this here to get my adjustment I need. Right, I think I'm maybe going to wind part 16 up at this, but hope you liked it so far guys, and if you have, please give us a thumbs up and comment. It all helps my channel. I know I've only got like 1200 subscribers, which I think I've done well. We're talking about this other night down at a cafe with some friends, and my cousin Rick, who watches these videos, and Tony, was that if you were doing a channel about motorbikes, tuning bikes or whatever, or cars and sports cars, like some of them haven't, they've got millions of subscribers, because a lot of people like to watch stuff like that. It's not everybody that wants to watch this kind of stuff. I know some lads on Model Engineering Forum watch it, but there's a lot that don't, because it's like, why would I want to watch you making stuff when I can do it myself? Which is quite true, you know, why would you? But a lot of people do, and I do. I go on a night, I'm going in now, it's 10 o'clock, make myself a coffee, I'll download this video and I'll go on YouTube and see what's on. I don't watch telly, very rare. Only time I watch telly is when motor racing's on. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Hi, well, we didn't do bad in that episode, did we really? Got quite a lot done. Well, I think so anyway, a lot of progress. It was the awkward thinking bit of how we're going to do little things and bits and bats, and yeah, you just come up with all sorts, don't you? Little ideas, and the little fork we got done, which actually measures bang on. I kept nibbling away at it in milling machine because I wasn't sure about whether I'd cut the foot down enough to match the other side, but as it happens, we did, and I did measure it. Let's get a 0. 4.24, 4.25. .01 out. Yeah, worked out lovely. So all I can say is thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and there'll be a lot more to come, obviously. Don't know how many parts this is going to be. This base has got to be stripped down yet and completely machined of some sort of pattern or whatever I'm going to do on it. So, but anyway, I look forward to making part 17, and I hope you do too. Thank you.